Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of SUGTalks. I'm Craig Dale, your host, and together with our special guest, we'll take a deep dive into the topics, challenges, and opportunities facing SAP users today. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another episode. I'm delighted today to be joined once more by David Robinson, President, Cloud ERP, Rise with SAP at SAP. And this episode is the second in our double header where we're discussing the future of Rise with SAP. So, let's rejoin the conversation. A question I often get asked, and I think we're trying to get the bottom of, is what on earth is clean core? And that's it's sometimes not put as politely as that to me, as
Yes.
you can probably imagine.
Me either. I think we probably are talking to a lot of the same people. Yes, indeed.
So, what does clean core actually mean, and why is it important in the context of Rise? Is it a thing? Is it a philosophy? Could you just clarify that for us, please, David?
Certainly. So I too have been challenged by a lot of very, very, very experienced, smart, long-standing customers, world-class customers, and everyone agrees that leveraging as much as standard functionality in your application is really important. It minimizes the cost and complexity to implement, to test, to train, and most important for cloud, it also allows for the environment to be updated and to have the latest features and functions introduced in a way that doesn't disrupt the integrity of the code and the integrity of what's been configured. The reality, though, is that for years, if not decades, SAP and our partners have encouraged the use of certain strategies to build non-standard functions or features or Z programs within their core. And that was because, again, I think about the world designed around on-premise architecture. That was one of the constraints. And we had an elegant solution at the time, which is through user exits and other types of capabilities to ensure that customers could very quickly meet a business requirement and do so in a way that was able to be as similar to standard SAP delivery capability as possible. And so there are tremendous amounts of non-standard technical debt that exists now in the customer base, in the market across enterprises, regardless of industry or geography. And so when I think about clean core, I think about it as it's more of a set of principles. We know that no one will ever get to an absolute zero modified non-standard core. But we do know that how one incorporates differentiation into their estate and what are the methodologies and principles that an IT organization and the partner ecosystem can rely on consistently to say, we're going to go with standard functions first, and then we're going to look at things like business technology platform for non-standard extensions. And we're going to do that in a way that redesigns the IT operating model and the cadence of governance and the cadence of innovation with tools like Clean Core Analyzer and the dashboard to help measure adherence to these principles. That is very, very much what the Clean Core principles are all about. It's not about a binary, I'm now certified as Clean Core. I think all of us in IT know that that's a false way to look at it. But looking at what are all the right decisions to continue to optimize for cloud service delivery, get maximum benefit from the SAP applications that are purposely designed for end-to-end business process and industry capability, and do that in a way in which non-standard differentiation does not disrupt the core, but is truly extending or enhancing the core in terms of delivering an end-to-end cloud estate and being reactive and proactive to opportunities to adapt, change, introduce new innovations. So that's where I really think about Clean Core as a set of principles. And the application, Cloud ERP, and when I think about it, most people say, well, wait a minute. I already really do a really good job following clean core principles. I got good governance. I can do a good steer co. We do a fit to standard analysis. That's a really good outcome that I've invested in. And my answer usually is awesome. Congratulations. That's a great, great outcome. However, going forward, is that still a good use of your time, kind of maintaining the integrity of what you've already invested in? Or as a derivative, as a result of the Cloud ERP delivery model and the ongoing delivery operations, if that can help you continue to maintain clean core principles and the benefits in which clean core principles can present, why would you not want to move into a Cloud ERP model, which makes it much more inherently part of the operating service delivery rather than an additional governance or policy body in which IT people have to continue to maintain? And so I think everyone probably has different versions of the clean core, what it means for them, and the reality of how close they can achieve to an absolutely non-modified core environment. But it's less about adherence to a perfect clean core as much as adherence to those principles to kind of goal seek the very best trade-off between what you can modify with the greatest return on that investment and what's not necessarily something you want to modify because it doesn't really achieve a value outcome, but adds a lot of cost and complexity to all of those that share the core. So you can see it's a very kind of, I don't say it's a philosophical conversation because it really shouldn't be. It should be something very practical in which SAP encourages customers to find their own realization of clean core principles in their own enterprise. And we can make that something that then maximizes the value they get from running Cloud ERP.
Thank you. And so look, thinking about this, then obviously, if we look at the vast majority of our members are on-prem, looking to the future, heading towards S4. If I Am I right in saying that the Clean Core dashboard and analyzer works in Cloud ERP stroke Rise, but is not for on-prem, or is there an on-prem version of that? So if I'm sitting there as a customer, I'm thinking, right, okay, well, where am I now? No, how dirty is my core before I look to move forward?
Well, I think a few things. The first is when I look at new innovations, the innovations that a lot of customers, that the market is really driving towards, a lot of those innovations actually have dependencies on certain cloud services and architecture that make it very, very different than an on-premise environment. The one thing I usually do have to always remind everyone, our customers, ourselves at SAP, our partners, is that SAP is delivering on maintenance and support, and we are not leaving any on-prem customer behind. And there is continued investment in functions and roadmap execution around S4. And that does continue, and SAP is not changing its policy on that, nor should anyone have misinterpreted that. I think we could have probably communicated a little bit more clearly. But when I look at what are the innovations that are very, very dependent on elastic and collaborative compute, proximity to large data sets, the ability to look at cloud service architecture as a place in which innovation can be realized, curated, introduced, that's not really inside the S4 code line. It's a part of this new ability to design cloud end-to-end cloud service architectures and delivering innovations, introducing innovations that leverage the end-to-end cloud architecture rather than within a given code line. The reason that's so important is that things like Clean Core Analyzer Dashboard aren't just going to be limited exclusively to any one solution area. It's really more of a view, a lens into the broad end-to-end enterprise cloud estate and the adherence to Clean Core principles or Clean Core recommendations, or at least just a count of custom objects that sit within your cloud estate. Are there tools out in the market that customers could leverage to measure non-standard functions, non-standard configuration of code within their on-premise S4 estate? Of course. but I think it's really a conversation about the future economics of cloud delivered architecture and where the market, frankly, I think where customers want investment. Customers, I believe, want investment from people like SAP to go where it's the greatest return on that investment. And building innovations that have not just a prerequisite, but have kind of the ability to take the scale and the ability to realize it quickly into a cloud ERP population is frankly where the market has gone for a lot of these emerging innovations. So we're not talking about a feature or function as much as a service delivery. And that's really where a lot of things such as the Green Ledger, things such as AI capabilities as a service within the estate, and some of these other new innovations like the Cloud Clean Core Dashboard Analyzer, these are really there to encourage the use of cloud, but actually more importantly are only enabled because of cloud architecture and cloud service delivery. So they're very, very kind of interdependent.
Thank you. And on that subject of innovation, and I suppose in particular artificial intelligence, as this is,
Yeah.
an area many of our listeners are definitely interested in. How does Rise help customers with their adoption of AI?
Certainly. And none of these topics are easy. They're not. It's not a quick fix, and suddenly we're ready for AI to be activated in the estate. But I think those that have started to experiment with, and of course, AI, machine learning, these things have been around for quite some time. Correct? Vision APIs, speech to text. We all use AI every day on our phones, and certainly SAP customers have leveraged AI capabilities for many, many years around inspection management and OCR around invoice matching and things like that. I think where we're seeing the expansion of kind of the imagination of where AI can play a role across almost every facet of a business and industry process is kind of relying on a very, very fundamental architecture requirement, and it goes back to Clean Core. The ability to have standardization of data and data models, to be able to maintain a standardization of business and industry process, and as much of it an adherence to Clean Core principles is not just because it reduces the cost to keep that environment up to date as new changes are applied, but because it also provides one of the fundamental requirements in order to really expand the use of both public and private models across an enterprise estate in a way that is protected, in a way that is able to realize the benefits of AI without spending a tremendous amount of IT cost and resources in order to make an on-premise environment ready to properly leverage AI service in any one part of their enterprise estate, whether it's within the Cloud ERP component or the HR component or the procurement component, et cetera. What we're doing with Rise certainly is, as we help our customers through the Rise with SAP offering be able to refactor IT operating model, it allows for a faster realization of Clean Core principles. It allows for standardization of data and data models across the end-to-end estate, and leverages a consistent use of business technology platform for extensibility and for integration service, all in the service of that standardization. And it's that standardization, amongst many other things, but that is a very critical part of a successful, of a reliable, compliant use of AI across the enterprise. And SAP has spent a tremendous amount of time and thought in this area around our business AI strategy. And so it's not as much, and I know sometimes this can be controversial, and I definitely welcome any opportunity for anyone to spend time with me and help me understand better, and we can have a good debate on this. But it's a lot less of SAP saying, one must go with Rise because we said so in order to get access to AI. It's in order to unlock the power of AI in a way that's economically advantageous for the customer. incorporating a lot of the principles that are delivered as a part of the RISE motion, part of Cloud ERP service delivery, makes that a much more cost-efficient journey and realization for the customer. So it's just one of many ways that that the RISE in and of itself is encouraging the right data environment, architecture, service models to make the realization then of a AI estate across the SAP and non-SAP enterprise a lot more valuable and a lot more likely to be successful, not just on day one, but able to adapt and change and evolve as AI changes, as service providers come and go, as certain service providers specialize in certain industries. That abstraction that SAP provides from the ever-changing AI environments, we believe, we would argue, is the best way to future-proof the use of AI across your enterprise. And that's why I personally see a tremendous opportunity right now through the emerging interest in business AI and the emerging experimentation with AI across the enterprise as being the next accelerator for our customers moving forward with RISE, because it makes it a lot more clear what the value prop of RISE is if the result is a more efficient use of AI across their enterprise.
Thank you.
We know our community, but we don't know yours yet. Why not share the benefits of your UK&I SUG membership with those who don't know about us? The UK&I SUG referral scheme rewards you for helping to grow and develop our community. You can check out the link in the description to find out more about how you can get involved. Terms and conditions apply. We hope you enjoy the rest of the podcast.
And just going back to, you mentioned the Green Ledger, and I just wondered if there's any updates on that you can share, how customers will be able to access Green Ledger as part of RISE?
Mm-hmm. Certainly. Well, I think Green Ledger is one of the most, first of all, it's an incredibly important topic. Sustainability is a very, very important topic, and it's not a one-off topic. It's not an optional topic. It's something that really does touch every facet of an end-to-end business and industry process. There are many, many inputs to kind of the sustainable chart of accounts, which is why when SAP, took seriously kind of the mission of sustainability, it wasn't just, hey, we have a module, we're going to bolt it on. We've all seen that in the past. We know the results that something like that can present. The real promise, though, of Cloud ERP and an end-to-end cloud-delivered enterprise is that we can bring sustainability capabilities for both reporting and planning and enforcement across the entirety of the estate in a way that's naturally part of the business and industry process configuration. So when we think about sustainability and we think about the SAP Green Ledger in particular, this is another example of a requirement that is uniquely tied to the correct architecture, the use of collaborative compute and elastic compute, and the ability to use distributed architectures allows Green Ledger to truly deliver on the promise. One of the things I would recommend is certainly, for the future, Craig, if you ever want to speak with Sophia Mendelson, she's our Chief Sustainability Officer. She runs this entire strategy and business for SAP globally for our CEO. I dare say you would not find a more passionate and knowledgeable person on Green Ledger, on sustainability in general, but also be able to bring to life kind of those two worlds. How do you kind of hit the bottom line through industry and business best practices that RISE or Cloud ERP kind of delivers, but do so in a way that also doesn't put a burden on an enterprise's ability to natively incorporate sustainability strategy into all of those same processes and make that part of the operating model. That's really, I think, the promise and the opportunity that we're delivering on.
Thank you. And we talked a lot about like Cloud ERP, the advantages and where businesses can really benefit from it, looking to the future. And there's positivity there, support for customers in getting what's right for the customer rather than just the answer's RISE, what's a question? And you also mentioned partners and engaging with partners to really help customers find the best future direction for them in that way. What and that's great. And if you don't mind me saying, at your level, and we're talking to you now. We've had a number of conversations before, and what we hear is really good. But sometimes it does take quite a lot of time to filter down to the different market units around the world, to those people on the ground that customers are talking to on a day-to-day basis. So what's your advice to customers of how they should go about having the right conversations with SAP?
Certainly. And certainly not as, it's a great question. And I get this question a lot internally and certainly out with customers and our partners. And it's certainly not a dodge. I do want to say one thing is that, we're all being disrupted. We're going through a market transformation. Our customers are, our partners are, SAP frankly is. There are years, decades of resources, of processes that are proven, that are all designed on-premise applications, whether it's how they're designed, how they're delivered, how they're downloaded and installed, who configures it, how do you support it, what are the economics around maintenance. There's just like a lot of well-established deep roots around that entire way to operate an enterprise. We're still at the transition time to move from on-premise enterprises into cloud-delivered enterprise estates. And so this will take more time. On the SAP side, this is a top priority, is getting this level of knowledge and empathy and awareness of showing up. Again, it's not the next version of S4, not the next version of ERP. That was easy. And I think, we've talked in the past, Craig, about, ECC to R3 to ECC, ECC Business Suite, ECC Business Suite with HANA. Then we got S4 HANA. Those all share those same common principles of on-premise architecture and design and delivery. What we're talking about now with Cloud ERP is fundamentally different. It's different in every single facet, whether it's how it's developed and designed or delivered, downloaded. No, it's activated. It's configured. We provide extensibility and activation of the new applications. The economics are different. The renewals are different. There's just so many differences in the business and how our customers are going to derive and consume value from their use of Cloud ERP. So we are continuing to put an emphasis on learning and education, on measuring KPIs. What does success look like for the sellers? We just stood up probably one of the most fundamental new board areas for SAP with CS&D that is only designed around this exact topic, getting our customers successfully adopting and consuming the applications that they need to run their enterprise and to be innovative and to drive value for their business. And that is going to be a significant part of the go forward engagement. And that's a major investment that SAP is making, frankly, in this new cloud world, this cloud model. That was, I grew up in, I'm starting to sound old a little bit, Craig. I grew up in a different time. I feel like I'm getting older faster. I grew up in a different time. It was a lot easier. You could sell applications. Someone else would install it. And then we had a premium support in case they needed a support escalation. Like that was a really easy time. Today, we're in a very asymmetrical world, and the enterprise is very, very different. And both I think the power is shifting back to customers to feel much more empowered to make choices around standards and standard data and applications and providers. The tools are becoming easier and easier for customers to be more self-sufficient if they want to build their own innovations and extensions outside core manufacturers, as long as they stick to certain standards. And the real focus on providers like SAP is it's as important to publish a roadmap of features and functions as it is to publish a roadmap and deliver on it around new service and new regions and geographies of availability. And all of that is is a very different conversation. So we have dedicated teams globally to have this complex new conversation with customers. We have incredible training and learning happening to get our customer-facing engagement teams conversant and really able to have these conversations going forward. And then the third piece, frankly, and what I rely on a lot because of the trust and the credibility are the 5,000 plus customers that have already moved down the path of Cloud ERP, many of which are live, more than half of which are live. And having those customers talk to other customers about what worked and didn't work. No one is saying, I don't want to move to Cloud ERP. What they're saying is, here's what I learned along my journey that can hopefully help those that are next in line to start their journeys. I used to have a manager years ago that we used to work in the public sector. I used to spend a lot of time in the public sector, both in North America and globally. And we used to joke that, public sector likes to be first to go second. I feel like a lot of customers like to be first to go second. They want to go early enough that they're going to capture value and they're not going to fall behind, but they don't also want to be the experiment. We're well beyond experiment right now. We've got RISE Cloud ERP customers that have moved forward across all of our industries, certainly all our geographies. And now it's a real focus on taking out costs and inefficiencies to that onboarding process. Ensuring a robust ecosystem of partners that can provide extensions and capabilities to operate business technology platform and the other non-core requirements. And finally, the third piece is continuing to make it easier through tools and best practices for existing customers to make the transition. The transition will happen, inevitably. It will happen. The question is, what is the right time for every customer to make their own journey start? And how do we, SAP, make sure that we are helping them cost and risk manage that journey? And that is our opportunity. That is frankly, our responsibility at SAP. And we're putting a real priority on that right now.
Excellent. And SAP will be with them every step of the way?
We will. We have to, because cloud world is very different. Again, I go back to on-premise world. We would develop software, we'd sell them a perpetual use right, they'd pay maintenance, and there was support. That's an easy world. It's a different world where we've got to compose and develop applications. We have partners developing applications with the same tooling now that SAP develops through Business Technology Platform. We have to make it available. And frankly, customers now, through renewals, and there's a whole other world of leverage now. And if customers are not getting value or using the applications, I think it's unlikely they'll renew them. Yeah. So it's our obligation now to get the applications implemented, to get them used as per the commitment, the vision that got us to sign up in the first place, and to be able to continue to deliver value every step of the way. And CS&D is another evidence of that investment, because we don't go away now after a customer has been sold something. We stay engaged because the customer is not sold until after they renew. And then we're to the next renewal and the next renewal. So adoption and renewals are going to be an ultimate gauge of success for all of us at SAP. And certainly I would say it's a gauge of success for our customers as well, in their ability to trust and standardize on the investments that SAP continues to make.
Thank you. And yes, I do really like that move to adoption and ensuring and helping and supporting customers adopt the solutions that they purchased or they subscribe to from SAP. Mm-hmm. And you're exactly right. If I reflect that back on, us as a membership organization, we have a focus on member engagement. Mm-hmm. The more members are engaged, the more likely they are to renew and the more value they're going to get out of it. And it's exactly the same with the utilization of SAP solutions. And as we come to a close, David, is there anything else you'd like to add or share with our listeners that perhaps we haven't covered?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you, Craig, for the time today, and certainly thank all your listeners for their interest in this subject. I look forward to seeing as many people as I can out there in the real world soon off the blog, the broadcast here. The one thing I just want to reinforce is not something we didn't touch on, but I just want to reinforce how important it is for me to acknowledge that every customer is different. Every customer is unique. And because they have a different current state, they have a different starting point, and there's different constraints that will impact their ability to sunset legacy process or technical debt, or to sunset systems that are high cost and move through to a future state. The one area that I always try to remind customers is that we're there to engage in a multi-stage transformation. And as long as they understand that we're talking about a refactoring of an IT operating model, we're looking at the best transitory state to help make the right decisions around pace and sequence of that transition from an on-premise estate to a cloud-delivered estate. And certainly we 100% have to always deliver on the assurance that what we deliver as a Cloud ERP, and frankly across the entire estate, is secure and available and performant at a rate better than any one customer can possibly invest in. That's really what I'm trying to instill in a lot of customer conversations, is that we need to get very, very familiar with what are your constraints, what is your unique journey. And we're not here to necessarily force an outcome to go to RISE. We're trying to help our customers maximize the value of getting the investment that SAP is making in cloud-delivered applications brought to the ERP through Cloud ERP, and making sure that the tools and methodologies are able to adapt, are able to be relevant for every unique customer's journey. So it is not a rinse and repeat. It's not a one-size-fits-all. It's a methodology with a lot of room to grow and a lot of room to be a little agile, to help meet the customer again at where their starting point is, and through the nature of their unique journey to Cloud ERP.
Thank you, David. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your insights, and thank you to our listeners for listening. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and found it valuable. Please make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Until the next time, stay safe, stay well, and be happy.